It's time to check your money with Mike Jennings, wealth advisor with Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, a registered representative with LPL Financial, member SIPC. Mike Jennings, what's new in your world, my brother?
Another week down, and we're getting closer to starting to get closer to that warm cooler weather. I was gonna say, but it seems we had a week of 80-degree weather, so I don't know what's going on.
Listen, I'm gonna take whatever we have. I don't know what y'all be complaining too much for.
That's what we
y'all,
do. That's we
y'all
we
be complaining.
upstate New Yorkers.
We have like the hottest summer ever, the most sunny days ever. And what y'all talking about? Oh, it's hot.
Listen, what else are we gonna do?
I don't know, man. Y'all, I don't know. So what you got for us this week?
Yeah, so usually my inspiration for our episodes and what we talk about comes from two sources. So obviously the first is financial headlines, which is a wealth of content, especially these days for a weekly segment. But my other source of inspiration comes from experiences with clients or people that I talk to, which I tend to enjoy more because I can cover scenarios that affect people that I see each and every day. People that, are hardworking people that we all live with in our community. And many of those people are public employees,
Uh-huh.
people that work for the state and all of its various departments and authorities. Shout out to Okra, I'm on the board of. People that work for cities, towns, villages, and the counties of New York. People that work for SUNY and BOCES schools, etc. Now, add up all those categories, and we're talking about a pretty hefty sum of people in our area, and in the rest of New York State. And the majority of these people are eligible for the New York State local retirement system, which is a retirement pension. So you ready to talk about pensions, George?
Let's talk about it. Let's go.
All right then. Now, as I mentioned, a pension is a type of retirement plan, and when it comes to retirement plans, we know they generally fall under two main categories. And do you know what those categories are, George?
I love these. I love these quizzes, and I'm
Gotta make sure Vicky taught you well.
yes, yes, yes. Now I'm really under pressure because I've totally forgot the two main categories that we're talking about when it comes to retirement plans. But what one of the words that's coming to my mind is fixed. I don't know why, but you
Fixed.
tell me.
Fixed. Okay. I see where you were going with that. But the two main categories are known as defined benefit and defined contribution plans.
Okay.
Now, there's a pretty big difference between the two, and the way to tell the difference is actually right there in each name. So a defined contribution plan is one where the contribution amount is known and calculated as to what you as an employee will be putting into the plan, actually employee and employer in some cases. The outcome of the plan is determined mainly by how much the employee and employer are able to contribute to the plan and also the impact of any investments held within the plan. Now, in contrast, a defined benefit plan is one where the retirement plan is the retirement benefit is known and calculated as to what you as an employee will get out of the plan. By law, defined benefit plans must provide a lifetime annuity option for its members. So if you ask the majority of people in the New York State pension, they might not be able to tell you exactly how much of their check is going into the plan, how much they're contributing, but they can almost certainly be able to tell you how much they are currently projected to receive every month for life once they retire, if they read their statements. I know a lot of people don't.
Right, right.
George, have you ever had any sort of pension?
Not working for nonprofits and government. No, I did have one with the city for a little while, but not currently. Usually using 401k and 403b.
Uh, and you, there's a fantastic segue. So, pensions actually used to be a lot more popular.
Yes.
But we can talk about why they're no longer the most popular retirement options for employers to provide and for employees to receive. But let's look back at the history of the pension, which itself is tied to the history of the concept of retirement itself. And that goes back all the way to the beginning of the Roman Empire with its founder Augustus, who is Julius Caesar's great nephew and also his adoptive son that became his heir. Now, in 13 BC, he created the first quote unquote pension, which gave his legionnaires, so the warriors, a lump sum of about 13 times their salary once they completed their military service. Now, since those times and up until the early 20th century, pensions were largely for the benefit of veterans, except for Social Security, which the federal government instituted for all Americans in 1935. Around the 70s and 80s, most companies that offered employees pensions began to struggle with the cost of maintaining the expenses of these plans, right? You gotta think about, if you have employees that retire and you have to provide them a benefit for the rest of their lives, that can get pretty up there in terms of costs. So in 1978, Congress passed the Revenue Act, which contained Section 401(k). Now you can see where I'm going with this, right? From that act, Ted Benna, who was the benefits consultant at his company, Johnson Companies, he saw the potential in this and created the first employer-sponsored tax-deferred vehicle, which followed the guidelines of Section 401(k). Thus, the 401(k) was born. Now, this was a major shift in the retirement landscape because it moved the onus, the responsibility of providing retirement from the employers to the employees themselves. So instead of saying, hey, once you retire, we're going to give you such and such every month for the rest of your life. Now you have this option to contribute part of your paycheck to this tax deferred vehicle. Let it
Create your
grow
own,
tax
right?
exactly. Let it grow tax deferred. You get taxed on it when you start taking it out. But it has the options of different investments. So now it's not just the money coming from the company, it's money that you're putting into the market, and all of the risk that comes with that as well. Now, nowadays, the most common pensions you'll find are state-sponsored ones for public employees, which brings us right back to the New York State pension, which is kind of a big deal. What do you think, George? Just gut feeling answer. How large do you think the New York State pension is compared to other, let's say, other state pensions?
I would say New York is going to be right up there in, I would say, I'm going to take a guess and say top five, only because it's pretty aggressive, especially if you work for a municipality, because you can apply, you can move around from like different municipalities and still pay into that system. So I would say it's pretty large.
Pretty large. That's right. Top five, top five, top five. And that's right. There you go. So
Eh,
actually, the New York State local retirement system is the third largest of its kind, which is second only to the two public pensions of California. So actually, if you consider both of those California pensions as one, it's technically the second largest in the entire country. So let's look at some stats, right? So as of March of this year, 2025. $273 billion is in the overall common retirement fund.
hmm,
Um, the New York State Retirement Pension has 1 million, about 1.25 million members, which includes 714,000 active employees today, 477,000 retirees that are currently receiving their benefit, and then 46,000 surviving beneficiaries of those retirees that are receiving a benefit. The pension has two systems, one for police and fire, and the other is for all the other general public employees. Now, the average salary of the general ERS system is what it's called, the employee retirement system, is about $62,000. That's the average salary. And the average salary of the police and fire retirement system is about $130,000.
That sounds like a lot of money.
That, yeah, it sound like a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, but so why is it a topic of discussion for us today? Mainly because that while pensions do boast advantages over other plans like, lifetime income, because it is a defined benefit plan, there really is no way to increase your retirement potential other than working longer. Now, the main benefit of the New York State pension is tied to the service, the years of service that you work as an employee, which grants you a percentage point of your what they call a final average salary for every full year that you work. Now, in general, in the general ERS system for Tier 6 employees, which are those that joined after April 1st, 2012, actually, which is about 63% of the total employees in the system. Um, they need 5 years of service to vest, meaning that they are entitled to actually entitled to the benefits of the system. And they really only earn their full retirement after working 20 years of service and after 63 years of age. If you retire before any of those numbers, if you retire earlier than working 20 years, or if you retire earlier than 63 years of age, then you get a reduced benefit. But the general benefit, they are credited for 1.75% of their final average salary, which is the three highest earning consecutive years. Your three highest earning years consecutive, you average them out, and that's your final average salary. And they can also, like I mentioned in terms of working longer, for every additional year that they work beyond their 20 years of service, they can receive an additional 2% for every year. Now, just going by those numbers, an employee with 20 years of service, the general earliest you can retire, 20 years of service can only expect to receive 35% of their final average salary. Now, even working an additional 5 years would only put you at 45%. 10 years, 55%. And based on the average salary of most of the members in that pension,
Most of the members, right?
exactly, that is between $21,700 and $34,100 on average per year in retirement. Now, we've spoken often about retirement and replacing income to live off of. Yes, technically, some of your expenses will no longer apply in retirement, but the trend that we've been seeing for decades at this point is that in order to live comfortably in retirement, it is recommended that you replace close to, if not the entirety of your pre-retirement income. Now, for those that also receive a decent Social Security benefit, the New York State pension benefit might be enough if you put those two together. But, we also know, we spoke about it a lot, is that Social Security benefits also do not have the brightest future for the future beneficiaries. So really, to put it plainly, if you are in the New York State pension system or really any pension system, and you're mainly relying on that and something else that you can't really, affect as much as you want to, like Social Security, you might be shorting yourself when it comes to retirement. And it will be more than worthwhile to evaluate your needs for the future and, whether other options are would be of benefit to you. So, opening another retirement account, putting your investments in other places. Now, if this applies to you, if it's been a while since you've looked at your overall retirement picture, if it's been a while since you've seen a projection of how much money you can actually expect to a reasonable degree in retirement, I think it would be pretty worthwhile to talk to your friendly neighborhood advisor and get your financial plan in order, right? It's never too late to start looking at the future. So, like I said, give your friendly neighborhood advisor a call at 315-748-5540. Again, that's 315-748-5540. Or send me a quick email at michael.jennings@brackensfsn.com.
Mike Jennings is a wealth advisor with Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial member SIPC. He is your friendly neighborhood advisor.